And we're back now with my panel. Kevin, no visit to the White House would be complete without the president stopping in. Here he is.
Good to see you.
Hi,
Good to see you.
How are you?
Thanks for stopping by.
dress?
We were talking about hope and whether or not your administration achieved that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I feel hopeful.
What are you most hopeful about now?
The next generation.
Okay, the next generation.
You know, we've talked about this. History moves in cycles, and
Yes.
what lasts is the impact what we've done has had in people's minds and hearts,
That's right.
and that continues.
I want to ask you this. So she came to be our first lady.
Yeah.
We love her.
Yes.
The approval ratings, you can tell. But she was always your first lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. What surprised even you about the way she took on this mantle of first ladyism?
You know, we all knew she was brilliant and cute and strong and a great mom, but I think the way in which she blended purpose and policy with fun so that she was able to reach beyond Washington on her healthcare initiatives, on her military family work. It was masterful.
Kevin, you can see he just showed up, and they're like, where'd you come from? It's interesting that the president said history moves in cycles. What do you think of that line?
Well, I think he's right. I think oftentimes we have elections that, or we do have elections to judge whether or not people's mood match those particular cycles. We have elections are either have change or more of the same, and I think in this particular election we had one where people wanted change. President Obama, you know, I think if you look at his approval rating, I think that may be one of Michelle Obama's greatest strengths, which is that she has a likability and I think a connection with many of the voters that was transferable to President Obama. Even when people were judging him harshly, sometimes on his policies, they were judging him very favorably. They thought he was straightforward. They thought he was honest. And I think in this last election, though, we did see a bit of a swing away from that. I think the Obama administration did become associated with a lot of what people didn't like about Washington, and as a result, you saw Donald Trump win.
I want to play this. If we can get the soundbite where she's talking about, it's the last one from 500, where she's talking about Melania Trump. And I just think it was such a classy moment that she discussed the former First Lady before her and the next First Lady. Listen.
It was a wonderful visit because this is a really great job. You know,
Did you have any advice for Mrs. Trump?
You know, I didn't. We talked about the kids, but you know, my offer to Melania was, you know, you really don't know what you don't know until you're here. So the door is open, as I've told her, and as Laura Bush told me. You know, and as other first ladies told me, so I'm not new in this going high thing. I mean, I'm modeling what was done for me by the Bushes.
Right.
And Laura Bush was nothing but gracious and helpful, and her team was right there for my team all throughout this entire 8-year process.
And your team is doing the same.
We will do whatever they need to help them succeed. So that's one of the things I said to Melania. When you get to a place when you can digest all this and you have questions, because, you know, you don't have questions, you know, the day after the election. It's just sort of like, you know, you're looking around the house and it's like, well, what do you want to know? And it's like, I don't know what I should know. And I knew that. So my door is open. And that was really the nature of the meeting.
Simone, she didn't have to even answer the question. She didn't have to say anything, but that was a very classy answer, I think.
You know what? The Obamas, time and time again, they are demonstrating the epitome of classiness in this situation. I would note, though, that perhaps Michelle Obama should have been talking to Ivanka Trump and not Melania, because it seems like Ivanka is going to be the one in assuming this First Lady's role. And I guess I think it's also important that we note here that Michelle Obama never forgot that she is a black girl from Chicago with 2 Ivy League degrees and was still just so down to earth, so personable, so intelligent and witty and just beautiful in every single thing that she she's done, and that's shown through in this interview, and that is going to continue well throughout her time post White House, and that's something folks are never going to be able to forget. And I think the next First Lady to follow Michelle Obama has a very, very high bar to reach that I would argue is unreachable.
You know, well, let's hope that she does well. We wish Melania Trump well as well. And there was a great interview by the current First Lady. Thank you, panel. I appreciate that. We'll be right back.